Hey everyone, welcome to part 13 of my no armor, no ranged weapon, no death, fists only playthrough of Demon Souls. Here I'm continuing on through the ritual path after opening up the shortcut towards the old hero boss, which is a boss on the way to the Storm King boss. So I'm just falling down here, landing on the stairs for somewhat safety as I run through the shortcut that I opened in the last part. Once again, I'm only holding out the Adjudicator shield to get the stacked passive healing, stacked with the Regenerator's ring, but I won't be using any shields in this playthrough for protection whatsoever. I retreated from this guy and I expected him to actually come up to this platform with me, but turned out he just wanted to go all roly-poly and do nothing. So I started edging to the left here to see if he would roll himself off the edge. And he kind of did. So I thought that might be a strategy to beat all of the skeletons that were down here. Well, when I say all of the skeletons, I mean the one other skeleton that was down there. That was very close. So immediately started to try to kite him off the edge as well, and he worked even better. So that was a really good strategy to get those skeletons out of the way without having to fight them. I figured these two guys probably weren't going to roll off the edge since they don't roll. So my plan was just to try to separate them. There was no way I could deal with both at once. But separating them, I was pretty sure I'd be able to fight them on their own without any worries. They're very slow, these big heavy guys. Big heavy weapon wielding guys. Once again, pulling out the Adjudicator shield just for its healing abilities. Now, this area was a little concerning to me because I did not remember it at all. I'd completely forgotten this area existed. In fact, I completely forgot the old hero boss existed before I came to this world. And once I remembered this area, I knew I would have to deal with more of those Grim Reaper looking enemies. You can see the minions that the Reapers spawn standing there. I wasn't sure how to deal with them. I was thinking I'd just run past them until he fired that beam, and then I realized, oh yeah, these minions are also very dangerous, and I'm going to need to pretty much run past them and dodge through those beams. So to test whether or not I could dodge through the beams, I kind of kited him or lured him into doing one and then tried to dodge through it. As soon as I dodged through it successfully, I knew I was safe to run and not worry too much about these minions, but I still didn't know where the Reapers were, so yeah, that was nerve-wracking. So after seeing no Reapers in the last section, I was 100% certain there was at least 1 or 2 Reapers in this area. What I did know though was that they would almost certainly be right behind a corner or right in an alcove or a door somewhere. So I figured all I had to do was get past these minions and keep running, and so long as I got to a Reaper before he could fire his magic at me, I should be able to stun lock it with fists. That was my only hope because I had no other plan whatsoever. I had no idea what I was walking into. And as soon as I turned this corner, there was this one. I was already hurt from the minion, so I was hoping to put myself on the right side of this Reaper while the minion was stuck on the left side. I thought if I could keep hitting him with fists and keep him stun locked there, then I would be safe, and fortunately that worked. Ultimately, my plan turned out to be, here's a Reaper that I've stumbled upon, punch him and hope he dies while standing on the opposite side of the minion and hoping that the minion can't reach me from where he is. And somehow it worked. And of course I thought there has to be a second Reaper around here. I'm sure I dealt with 3 of them in my first playthrough. I'm sure there's a second one around here. So I was walking around very, very cautiously, trying to see it if I could see it, but also having no idea and assuming I'm probably going to stumble into this one too. And then when I walked out into this open area, I thought I must have walked straight past a Reaper or ran past one of them. Unless there wasn't 2 there, I don't know, maybe there wasn't and I was remembering it incorrectly. But somehow, I think I skipped one of the Reapers. I don't really know how. But as soon as I got here, I felt pretty good about the fact that I'd skipped the Reapers, but a little more apprehensive about these white glowy light things because I knew if you got too close to them, they could explode, and I couldn't remember how much damage they did, so I was assuming they could probably kill me. The other thing was I absolutely couldn't remember how dangerous these slugs were. I don't think they were that dangerous in my first playthrough, but then I had a pretty high level Crescent Falchion and I was using a magic character, so I probably killed them from a distance. With fists though, I figured these slugs are probably going to be very dangerous. So I stood up the top here trying to get a handle on the layout and work out whether or not I would actually go down with the slugs to try and pick up the items that they were guarding. I really didn't know this area very well at all. I had no idea what any of these items were, but I thought I would give at least a couple of them a run just to see how well I could go. Pretty nerve-wracking though, not knowing how dangerous they were or whether or not my fists could even really hurt them very much. So what I tried was throwing some soul remains to see if I could distract them to get some items, but I didn't have that many soul remains. I've been putting most of them into the storage box, so I kind of regretted that at this point. If I'd had a bunch of soul remains, I probably could have gotten all the items in this area, but as soon as I punched that slug and saw I was doing next to no damage, I realized that there was no way I was going to be killing these slugs. Whatever items I could get from this area, I would have to get by running and grabbing them, and any item that seemingly was blocked from me doing that, I would have to miss out on. Then frustratingly, I realized that the slugs would move even if I was standing directly above them. But I also realized when I grabbed that item that they were terribly slow, so they probably weren't going to get me if I was able to spot an item that I might want to grab. I wasn't sure if I could grab that one though, because I couldn't see whether or not I could get out of that tunnel, and I did not want to be trapped in a dead end. And then I saw a slug come up, and I didn't know the slugs could come up to the top, but as soon as I saw him come up to the top, I thought, yeah, I may not want to stick around here for very long. I certainly didn't want to stick around while these white orbs were around, so I hoped to set them off. I set that one off, but I got hit by it. This was another case of pulling out the Adjudicator shield to double up on my passive health regeneration. And here basically what I'm doing is I don't know this area at all, and I'm looking around trying to see if there's any items worth risking my life for while waiting for my health to heal. This was the only item I could see from here, so I thought I'd throw some soul remains down in this area to attract the slugs away from it, just to see if there was a chance that I could get it. Turned out to be a stone of ephemeral eyes, which was completely useless to me. This moment was heart-stopping because I didn't mean to do that. I fell off, and then when I turned around there was a slug blocking the way up. But as soon as I rolled through his side, I thought, oh, you know, these slugs probably aren't that big a deal. I can probably just roll through them whatever angle I'm on. So I decided I'd walk around looking for some items and whether or not there are any to pick up. But I really didn't want to go down below with them to search for items, so I know there's probably items in here that I've completely missed. But ultimately, I was feeling a little nervous about getting killed or getting caught between a couple of slugs and then getting insta-killed or something, so I pretty much looked around for a little bit and then decided, screw it. There's probably nothing here that I really want. Let's go do the boss. This is such a cool boss, I think. The old hero is a blind boss. He relies completely on sound and on you hitting him to know where you are. Apart from that, he'll just wander around searching for you. If you have the Thief Ring on, then that just makes this encounter even easier. The extra stealth the Thief Ring gives you on top of this boss's blindness makes it so easy, normally. Unfortunately, as you can see, I'm doing very little damage. This boss doesn't seem to mind being punched in the legs at all. And to make matters worse, there seems to be a problem with the hitbox for fists in his legs. It's really difficult to actually connect. Even when you're right up against him, half the time your fists just sail through his legs without actually hitting him. 1, 2, 3. Only the fourth punch actually registered as damage on him. So yeah, this was going to be a challenging and very long fight. Using fists means you do have to get up close and stay up close to put on some damage, but like there, I got hit. All you have to do, as long as you have the Thief Ring on, is back up and heal. And you know, I was thinking at this point, even if I ran out of grass, between the Adjudicator shield and the Regenerator ring, I'd always be able to stay away from him and heal up to full if need be. So really, the only thing I had to do was stay away until I had enough health, then go up and whack at his legs, avoid his area of effect blast, which is when he puts his sword into the ground. Just have to back off when he does that. And yeah, just keep doing this over and over and over until he's dead. That's all I had to do. Okay, here he puts his sword in the ground to do his AoE, and I try to run left, but there's no way to go left. I didn't realize there was no gap there. That was a very scary moment because I didn't know if his AoE could one-shot me. Fortunately, it didn't, and I survived. So I was quite lucky once again. But it also gave me the confidence to know that because his AoE couldn't one-shot me, then he probably didn't have any strikes that could one-shot me either. So that meant I could be a little bit more aggressive with him if I wanted to. I mean, I say that, but I couldn't really be too aggressive with him. I already had to spend a lot more time at his feet than I wanted to, just because a lot of my fists wouldn't register as hits. So that meant to get any kind of damage on him, I had to spend more time in his vicinity, which meant more time at risk of being hit by him, which was about as aggressive as I could really be. If he hit me twice, he'd probably kill me, so yeah, I didn't want to risk that. I just had to accept that this was going to be yet another really long fight. And maybe another reason to go back and farm for some iron knuckles after I completed this area. And in fact, in hindsight, I should have done some research before deciding to play a fist-only run, and I should have looked up where I could have found the claws. The claws weapon is just an item. It turns out that I later discovered to be readily available and able to be picked up in Prison of Hope. I didn't know that at this point though, but had I decided to learn that before this run, I would never have farmed for the iron knuckles, and I probably would have gone straight for the claws right from the start. But I didn't, so yeah. At this point I was thinking I need to farm for the iron knuckles. Once again, every time I pull out the Adjudicator shield, it's purely to heal. I'm not using any shields or armor in this playthrough. Finally, I beat him, and that officially became the longest boss fight in the playthrough. 21 minutes, so he took the crown from the Phalanx for the longest boss fight. Yeah. I think if I were to do this again, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive with that fight to speed it up, but ultimately I was just playing it safe. I didn't want to die, I didn't want to make any mistakes and die, so yeah, it took a while. But it's alright, he was beaten, so that was great. So now I had one more boss in World 4 to beat, which is the Storm King, and I'll show you that fight in the next part. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.